the idea is to likanes lifnai v'lifnim, to go inside, to get connected to an inner level that Rabbi Nachman can take us to in his unique and inimitable way, to go inside, to touch on something that most people, certainly most Torah teachers, don't have the authority to touch upon, like Rabbi Nachman does. He's the master of the inner world, the master of our relationship with Hashem, and how to clear away whatever's blocking us, so we can really know that Hashem is there and here, there, and everywhere. So, the text you have, Likutei Moharan 1, 282, is a famous text. It's called Torah Reish Pei Bet. I was like, I don't know who would be calling me. Itzik. Let me just see who it is. What do you want? Itzik? Well, we're in the shul downstairs. Yeah, we're all starting now. Okay, Shalom. Thanks for coming. I didn't call you all day. I like to bother you. Okay, all right. We're all... Okay, come. Itzik has been a doll. Itzik has been amazing. He's taken me places, and then when he went in the hospital last week, we were all kind of very concerned. The Baruch Hashem, he's doing okay now. And he's a very amazing man. So, this Likutei Moharan 1 I mean to say there's two parts to Likutei Moharan. So this is part 1, and it's Torah 282. And I don't want to talk much about it. I want you to get the essence of it. It's based on a verse, as you see, at the top of the second paragraph. The verse is in Psalm 37. It says, Ve'od ma'at. You know what? I needed to heal him. 37.
I think we should have it here.
Thank you.
There you go.
Shalom. So Tehillim 37, verse 10. It's a difficult psalm. As all psalms, it has an incredible inner coherency. It's not easy to get to it. It says, those who perpetrate evil will be cut off. Those who hope in Hashem, Yershu Aretz, they will inherit the earth. Ve'od me'at ve'en rasha. In a little bit, the simple meaning of ve'od ma'at is in a little bit in terms of time. In a little bit, ve'en rasha, there will be no wicked man. Ve'idbonanta, and you'll contemplate al mekomo, on his place. Ve'enenu, he won't be there anymore. Ve'anavim yirshu aretz, the humble will inherit the earth. Ve'hitanegu al rov shalom, and they will delight in an abundance of peace. So the main thing we're going for is that it says that in a little while there'll be no more wicked man. You will contemplate his place and he won't be there. So let's start at the beginning and we'll see how this verse fits in. Know that it is necessary to judge every person favorably. And the Hebrew is, of course, is lekaf zchut, on the scale of merit. So you have the scale in the old days, and you weigh things on it, and if you judge somebody favorably, it changes them, it changes their energy. The way, in other words, it's not just what you do vis-a-vis another person in the physical world. It's not just what you say, which was what the Chafetz Chaim emphasized, the power of words, but it's what you think. It's what you think. And perhaps what you think it could very well be it's even more powerful than what you say and what you do. Because this is what's actually going to determine, even if not immediately, it's going to determine in the long run something that's going to happen down here in speech and something that's going to happen down here in action. And as you see it with spouses. You see a little seed thought come into one of our minds, the man with his wife, the wife with her husband, and all of a sudden he doesn't like something she just did. Okay, he doesn't say anything. But then something else. Unless he catches it in the bud, and I'm talking from the point of view of a man, you can do it with a woman also, or maybe you can say it's a little different, but unless he catches it in the bud, and he says, hey, wait a second, where did that come from? I love my wife. What's your problem? Unless you catch it in the bud, it'll grow. And what will happen after a while is he'll say something. And she'll say, why did you say that? And he'll say, get off my back. And it'll start. So, how do you stop that? You stop it in the bud. You clear your thoughts towards the other person. This is an art. And it's a mastery that you have to have. You have to have it because it's life and death. Because it's very often almost automatic that the one we love most is the one we're going to hurt most with our words. So, Rabbi Nachman says if you judge a person on the scale of merit, even if that person is a complete sinner, you must search until you find some modicum of good by virtue of which this person is not a sinner. By finding this small amount of good and judging him or her favorably, you really do elevate them to the side of merit. You can then bring them to return to Hashem. That's the overall concept. But then he does it in the middle paragraph. He says you got to do it with yourself too. You must also find this good point within yourself, and of course for many of us that's difficult. And when we're going to get to the Hebrew, which is on the next page, when we're going to get to the Hebrew, we're going to see it's not just the good points in any superficial sense. When you're going to find the point of goodness in another person and in yourself, it's going to have a powerful effect. And Rabbi Nachman is going to teach us how to identify, acknowledge, and utilize our connection to these good points. Or as I say, it's much better and much truer to translate it, points of goodness. Nikudot tovot are not just good points, like stars for doing nice deeds. This is points of goodness. We'll see where that takes us. Now go back up to the second paragraph from the top. This whole teaching is implicit in the words of the Psalm. Ve'od ma'at ve'en rasha. In a little bit, the sinner is not. V'idbonanta al mekamo, you shall reflect upon his place. Ve'enenu. It won't be there. Says Rabbi Nachman, the verse is telling us to judge everyone favorably. Even if you see that someone is a complete sinner, or you think they are, you must still hunt and search until you find some bit of good in them. There, in the place that this little bit of good exists, so that's a rereading of the word od me'at, the little bit of good. It's not just in a little bit in terms of time. The simple meaning of the verse is, in a little bit, there'll be no more wicked man. But here it's in a little bit, the little bit of good that you find in the other person, that will now transform your way of relating to that person. That's his secret. This is a famous Torah, but I just wanted to share it with you. So when we go inside, actually I taught it all year this year. I started off the beginning of Likutei Halachot, which is based on this Torah, and it took us 8 months to do it, and we just found that it just gave us so much. We had an incredible class this year in Yerushalayim, in Simchat Shlomo, in this Torah, in this concept, and the concepts that Rabbi Nachman brings. So, I guess that's why I wanted to share it with you. And I hope it's good for you. So if you find the little bit in the other person, and of course later on in ourselves, then, he says, in but a little bit the sinner is not. In other words, you must seek out the little bit of good that still remains, for in that place, that person is not a sinner. Ve'ein rasha. In that place, in that goodness, that point of goodness within each one of us, we are good. He may be wicked in one's actions, but even so, is it really possible that some good doesn't exist?